Hello, I'm Destiny Yarbrough, your host tonight for the Roar podcast. We have with us our extraordinary panel, Beverly Bilbo, Bethany Ramusin, Halston Parks, and Catherine Legg. And we are speaking to the topic of authenticity, to be real, original, authentic, and relatable.
With Destiny, I'd like to ask you the first question tonight. What does it mean to have authenticity?
So when I think of authenticity, I think of acting in ways that show your true self, that show who God has designed you and created you to be, rather than showing people only a particular side of yourself, and to be expressive, to have your self-expression, to be show an expression of who you are, who the creation that God has created you to be. That to me is what it means to have authenticity, to be relatable, to be real. God has made us all in His image, and He's made us each very unique, and He has made you to be an original, and He's also created you in the likeness of His image. And I think people miss that, and they want to compete with other women, or they have, body image, or, they're not pretty enough, they're not good enough, they're not, smart enough. And I think that the enemy uses that tactic to really bring people from where God really wants them to see themselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so true, especially among women. We have that whole comparison thing going on. So that's awesome. I love what you had to share about being authentic. I have a question for you. Why is it important for us to be authentic?
Well, I believe that being authentic liberates us. It brings us, it liberates us, it frees us up. It gives you the freedom to just be. Have you ever seen those little signs that say, I have one hanging right here in my office, just be you. Be you. And when people say, oh, I'm going on this interview, or I'm going, to audition for this part, any words of wisdom or advice, and I always say, just be you. There's only one you. Authenticity gives you the confidence to see yourself for who you truly are. And I'll say it again, and we'll probably say it 1,000 times, to be who God made you to be. You have to know who you are, because you need to know whose you are. Amen.
Amen. I've had the privilege of knowing Miss Destiny since I was 17, and I'm 30 now. So one thing that I value and respect in you personally is your you're authentic. And for me, for a young woman, like we look up to women that are real, that are walking out what they're preaching. So for other women out there, example of what it looks like to be an authentic woman, because I know it's important for us to be living that lifestyle, for those that are looking up to us.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because I do want to say that all the women that are on this Roar podcast, God downloaded these women into my heart. And when I reached out to them and they were available, which includes you, everyone that's on this podcast is very relatable, very real, very authentic. And I think that's why God put this together, because, He's a net weaver. He net weaves us all together. But to answer your question, an authentic woman to me is someone who is selfless, someone who is strong, focused. You can say balanced. I like the word focused. They're true to themselves. She's true to herself. She doesn't care what anybody thinks about her. I used to worry about when I was younger, what do people think about me? I don't worry anymore, because I've gotten the concept of it only matters what God thinks about me, not what man thinks They don't care about that. They're not afraid of taking risks. They're not afraid of change. She respects herself. She's comfortable in her own skin. And I want to share that when we take risks, we shared in another podcast about obedience. You can't grow if you're not taking risks and you're not comfortable with change. You stop growing, you stop evolving.
That's really good, Destiny, and I think that this is very important, that as you're talking about what an authentic woman looks like, there have to have been some examples that crossed your mind in terms of what authenticity is.
So I think I think of the women in the Bible. The Naomi's, the Ruths. Of course, we always think of the Proverbs 31 woman. I mean, will we ever be like the Proverbs 31 woman? No. I mean, she was just the proverb. That's why she's the Proverbs 31 woman. But I think to be real is to be relatable, to be approachable, to not be a false copy of someone else, to be genuine, to represent the true nature and the true, person of who God created you to be. What's our belief system? Are we buying into the lies that the enemy would try to put upon us? Or are we buying into the truth about what God says about us?
Destiny, do you feel that authenticity is a quality like that somebody should aspire to in their life, to work and to develop this quality in their life?
The answer is yes. Yes, I do. You think of being real, which means to be genuine, we talked about that, to be genuine. When somebody is confiding in you or somebody wants to ask you a question or something personal, we don't want to tell people. So many people tell people what they want to hear. And we can be truthful in love, which what the word says that, to speak truth, but speak truth in love. And to be able to share our true selves, our heart, really our heart. What does God look at? He looks at the heart. And he doesn't look at all this. He looks at this. So sharing our heart with people, being genuine, listening, helping, to be a helper, to be a servant.
So, Miss Destiny, what is the difference between integrity and authenticity?
That's a good question. Integrity is to be active, to pursue your beliefs, what you believe in, your belief system, the choices that we make, our bond, which is our word, to be a person of our word. As a mother, I know we're all mothers, and that's probably one of the key things that we share is to teach our children that their integrity matters. Your word is your bond. Authenticity goes hand in hand with, I believe, God's distinct favor and knowing who they are. Our next generation, our young people, our children. I tell my son, your character and who you are is not defined in that vehicle that you drive. It is not defined on that football field. It is not defined by, labels and the clothes you wear. That's not how God designed us, and that doesn't define you. Your integrity, who you are, your heart, how you treat people, that's what really helps to build your character.
Thank you for joining us on the Roar podcast. I'm Destiny Yarbrough, your host, with our extraordinary panel. Let's roar together.